The conference room still smelled like burnt coffee and fresh ink when my boss slid the termination letter across the mahogany table. My pulse pounded louder than the ceiling-mounted speakers that had just played our victory jingle. 1 hour earlier, I'd closed a record-breaking $42 million deal. Now I was watching HR click a stopwatch on my career, counting the seconds of a life I'd sacrificed for them. Help us reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of the month. I made a promise to my dog. Once we hit 10K, I'll buy him a brand new cooling mat. He's counting on you, and so am I. So if you enjoyed the story, please hit that subscribe button. My name is Miles Harrington. I'm 32, relentlessly resourceful, and I've turned hopeless prospects into loyal clients since the day I learned to spell commission, until this afternoon, when the floor vanished beneath me. I'd been awake for 31 hours straight, pitching Corinthia Biotech across 3 time zones. By the time their CFO signed the digital contract, my eyes burned like overexposed film, but the adrenaline kept me upright. I staggered back into HQ, clutching my laptop like a newborn. The bullpen erupted. Even the interns knew what that signature meant. Quarterly bonuses, department-wide recognition, proof that our scrappy mid-tier consultancy could spar with the McKinseys of the world. I expected a hero's welcome. Instead, Raymond L. Foster, senior partner and resident golf swing philosopher, summoned me with a single crooked finger. Boardroom. Now. Raymond was a Mercedes in cufflinks, polished surface, 0 trunk space for anyone else's baggage. He shut the glass door behind us, dimmed the smart tint, and eyed the contract on my screen as if it carried a virus. "Congratulations," he said, voice flat. "You've exceeded expectations in creative ways." Translation: You bypassed my hierarchy to land Corinthia through a back channel. He scrolled through the agreement, jaw tightening whenever he saw my name without his. I swallowed. They insisted on moving fast. Legal can refine the boilerplate. Legal doesn't refine miracles pulled out of hats, he snapped. They dissect them. His phone buzzed. A text from CEO Patricia Wu. I glimpsed 3 words before he flipped it. "Nice save, Miles." Raymond's nostrils flared. He smiled, but it was the smile of a man turning down the dimmer switch over a bonsai he forgot to water. Forced, apologetic, cruel. "Company policy requires executive oversight on any deal above $20 million, he said. "You skipped 3 approval layers." "You were in Augusta," I reminded him. "They gave us a 48-hour window. We'd have lost them." "Maybe we should have." He slid a document across the table. Insubordination and breach of protocol. Termination effective immediately. The words struck harder than any pink slip stereotype. I thought of my fiancée, Jenna, planning our wedding menu. Mom bragging on Facebook about her rain-making son. The Corinthia team waiting for my follow-up call. I forced my voice steady. "You're firing me for closing the largest deal this firm has seen in a decade?" "I'm protecting the firm," he said, "and, frankly, teaching you humility. Pack your desk by 5. He stood. End of discussion. HR entered like stagehands breaking down a set. They wouldn't even let me email a handoff to the account team. As I walked past the glass walls, applause died mid-clap. Colleagues' eyes darted away. Raymond emerged behind me, already on Bluetooth with Corinthia, spinning a narrative I couldn't hear. Elevator doors closed. My reflection looked less like a salesman and more like a storm cloud ready to burst. But as the numbers on the panel descended, so did an idea. A silent, seismic plan that would make Raymond regret ever teaching me humility. The elevator opened into the lobby's marble hush, but the turmoil inside me roared like sheet metal in a tornado. Security. 2 kids who normally winked when I brought them donuts, patted my backpack as though I might smuggle state secrets. Joke's on them. The real contraband was already in my head. Outside, Manhattan's April rain slashed sideways. I let it soak my suit while I voice recorded every detail I could recall from Corinthia's strategy session. Pricing models, rollout timelines, the data that proved our consultancy was never meant to handle their scale. It wasn't theft. It was my sweat, my fingerprints on every cell of that deal. Raymond could shred my badge, but not my memory. Jenna called. "They're saying you resigned?" A bitter laugh escaped. "If resignation means pushed without a parachute, sure." "We'll figure this out," she said, but her voice trembled under the brave mask. Wedding deposits, rent on our Chelsea shoebox, figuring out had a dollar amount. I ducked into the subway and texted an old mentor, Clara Santiago, who'd left the firm after Raymond sidelined her for not fitting the culture. Read, refusing to schmooze on golf courses. Her reply came before the train screeched in. "Heard the news. Meet me at 6. Same bar where we toasted your first close. I have an idea." 6 p.m. felt years away. I spent the interim at a WeWork day desk, drafting an annotated timeline of how I'd navigated Corinthia's procurement labyrinth, documentary evidence of Raymond's non-existent executive oversight. I attached timestamps, screenshots of my late-night Slack pleas for guidance, and the CFO's glowing emails. At 5:55, I pushed open the speakeasy's hidden door. Clara sat in a velvet booth, hair silver now but eyes still sniper sharp. She slid a bourbon my way. "Your ex-boss is already briefing Corinthia on a restructure," she said without hello. "He'll bill them double what you quoted, blame scope creep, then credit himself for salvaging a rogue negotiation." I clenched my glass. "They trust me. One call." "And breach your NDA? Raymond would sue before your phone hit the cradle." She leaned in. "But there's a loophole. You can't solicit Corinthia for 12 months. Doesn't say a word about advising them if they come to you first." I felt the storm inside me pivot, focus. "You think they'd walk?" "Not yet. But if they see evidence of deceit, they'll need independent guidance immediately. Someone who knows their pain points better than Raymond ever could." My heart hammered. "How do we get that evidence in front of them without me initiating contact?" Clara's smile was electric. She produced a flash drive. "Turns out, being bad culture fit means the IT guys still like you. This contains tomorrow's board presentation. Raymond claiming sole credit, inflating projections by 40%. If Corinthia's CFO receives it anonymously, they'll smell blood." I stared at the drive, rainwater still dripping from my cuff. Crossing this line could end any chance of polite references, maybe invite legal fire. But watching Raymond swindle the very client I'd fought for felt worse. I reached for the flash drive, and my phone lit up with a caller ID I never expected at this hour. Raymond L. Foster. My thumb hovered over decline, but instinct yanked me toward accept. If Raymond was phoning the man he'd just fired, something was wobbling under his manicured feet. "Raymond," I said, keeping my tone as flat as the bourbon in my glass. "Miles." He paused, as if savoring his own name on my line. "I trust you're taking this transition professionally." Rain hammered the speakeasy's skylight. Beside me, Clara muted her phone and leaned closer, brows knit. "I assume you didn't ring to discuss my professionalism?" I replied. "Sharp as ever. Listen, there's been confusion. Corinthia's legal team found irregularities in the version of the contract you hastily submitted. They're requesting the deal be placed on hold until we clarify authorship." Irregularities? That was Raymond speak for the forged executive sign-off he must have added post-termination to make himself the closer of record. My chest heated. I'm not with the firm, I said. Not my circus. I'd appreciate your cooperation. A brittle edge crept into his silk. If you confirm verbally that you acted without authorization, the board will expedite your severance package. Translation: sign my confession, take hush money, disappear. I locked eyes with Clara. She mouthed, "Stall him." My lawyer will have to review any statement, I said. Email me the details. Raymond exhaled through his nose, a sound like a fuse burning. Miles, loyalty still matters in this industry. Don't misplace yours. The line clicked dead. I set the phone down. The bourbon tasted like ignition fluid now. Clara slid the flash drive closer. He's scrambling. Corinthia smells something. We tip them fully. Tonight, they'll sever before dawn. But if I'm tied to the leak, I said, Raymond sues, paints me vengeful. Then we make the leak untraceable and ensure you look like the firefighter, not the arsonist. She pulled out a second drive. Your timeline, emails, call logs, all time-stamped. We bundle them with his doctored slides and send from a burner account. Corinthia sees the truth, voids the tainted contract, and needs immediate guidance. You step in as their independent crisis advisor. NDA intact. My pulse thudded. That's nuclear. It's just gravity, she countered. What goes up? I thought of Jenna worrying over catering invoices, of Mom drafting a LinkedIn post about resilience. Mostly, I pictured Raymond's smug grin fading beneath fluorescent boardroom lights when the CFO demanded explanations he couldn't fabricate. Let's do it, I said. We crafted the package with surgical care, scrubbing metadata, routing the email through an Icelandic relay. At 9:13 p.m., the files left the burner inbox with the subject line, URGENT, discrepancies in recent engagement documentation. Send. I barely breathed before my phone buzzed. Unknown number, Austin area code. The CFO's HQ. I answered. This is Miles. A calm, precise voice. Mr. Harrington, we've received evidence suggesting misrepresentation by your former employer. Our board convenes at 7 a.m. Eastern. We'd value your presence as an independent advisor. Can you be available? Yes, I said, throat tight. I'll be there. Discretion is critical. Use the executive entrance on West 44th. We'll handle the rest. Call ended. Clara raised her glass. Redemption. Served neat. But before the bourbon touched my lips, a news alert flashed across the bar's TV. Consultancy's stock plummets after rumors of contract fraud. Raymond's empire was already cracking, and I was about to walk across the rubble. I barely slept. At 5:45 a.m., I knotted the one tie Raymond once called too bold and caught a cab through streets still haunted by night shift steam. By 6:30, I was in Corinthia's lobby, badge-printed consultant, independent. Security ushered me upstairs, past clusters of execs, whispering like parishioners hearing the church roof crack. The boardroom's frosted door slid open. Inside, CFO Dana Wells, CEO Dr. Aisha Patel, 2 attorneys, and an empty chair opposite a 12-seat teleconference wall showing remote directors, all eyes fixed on the lone outsider. Me. Dana motioned. Mr. Harrington, thank you for coming on short notice. She cued a slide, Raymond's doctored forecast, projected savings, quadrupled growth, his signature beaming in blue. The timestamp read 9:17 p.m., less than an hour after he fired me. Dr. Patel spoke. We need to understand. Were these figures ever part of your negotiations? I laid out my evidence. The original pricing sheet, the validated ramp-up timeline, my slack thread begging for partner oversight. Each document appeared on their screen like rivets in a hull. Proof the ship had been seaworthy until Raymond bored holes in it. One director, a retired SEC prosecutor, asked, "Why would Mr. Foster misrepresent?" "Because he couldn't afford not to," I said. "He sidelined every rainmaker who threatened his narrative. When I landed you without his blessing, he had two options: admit the org chart failed, or erase the anomaly." Me? The silence that followed was dense enough to buckle ribs. Then Dana exhaled. "We're invoking our integrity clause and nullifying the engagement effective immediately." An attorney added, "We'll also pursue damages. Your cooperation today is on the record. We appreciate it." I felt a surge of relief, tempered by the void ahead. For the first time since college, I had no badge, no paycheck, just a fiancé and a wedding clock ticking louder by the hour. Dana closed her laptop. "That leaves us a gap. We still need oversight for the commercialization sprint your plan outlined, preferably someone who already earned our trust." Every gaze returned to me. I cleared my throat. "I can recommend several boutique firms." "We'd prefer you, Doctor," Patel said. "On retainer. 6-month advisory, renewable. Name your rate." My heart kicked. "I'll need a small team." "Build it," Dana replied. "Start today. We have offices in Austin or New York, whichever feels like home." I shook hands around the table, pulse drumming with an intoxicating mix of vindication and terror. They left me alone to review paperwork. I texted Clara, "They want me to lead. You in?" Her reply, "Hell yes." But triumph lasted seconds. An alert pinged. Raymond L. Foster filed for a temporary injunction against unauthorized disclosure of proprietary materials, naming Miles Harrington as respondent. Court hearing set for 2 p.m. today. Raymond was down, but he wasn't done. If the injunction stuck, Corinthia could be forced to suspend our new deal, branding me radioactive before my first paycheck cleared. I looked at the boardroom clock. 8:02 a.m. Less than 6 hours to prove that the only proprietary thing I'd disclosed was the truth. 8:03 a.m. My phone felt heavier with every vibration. Texts from Jenna. "You okay?" Clara. "On my way to Midtown Civil Court." And an unknown number that turned out to be a junior reporter sniffing scandal. I silenced them all and opened the draft contract Dana had slid across the table. 7 figures. Health benefits, equity options, a life raft made of gold, if it could survive Raymond's torpedo. First move, lawyer up. I called Vince Morales, the bulldog litigator who'd helped Clara settle her discrimination claim years ago. He answered mid-sip of what sounded like espresso. "Raymond filed a TRO?" he barked. "Typical. Send me everything you sent Corinthia." "It was an anonymous tip," I said. "But yes, evidence of fraud." "Good. Truth is an absolute defense. Meet me at 1 Center Street in an hour. Wear that tie. Judges notice confidence." I texted Dana the situation. Her reply came fast. "Corinthea's legal is drafting an amicus brief. We stand with you. Get this quashed." The elevator ride down felt like freefall. Rain had stopped. Skyscrapers glinted as though nothing corrupt ever happened within them. I hailed a cab, rehearsing the timeline aloud. Fired 3 p.m. Raymond alters slides 9 p.m. Anonymous email 9:13 p.m. Corinthia board alerted 6 a.m. My alibi? At 9 p.m. I was with Clara in a public bar. Receipts, CCTV, witnesses. Raymond's forgery time-stamped itself into a corner. Vince met me on the courthouse steps, hair slicked back like a courtroom raptor. Judge Patel, no relation to Corinthia's CEO, presides. Straight shooter. We argue lack of trade secret and whistleblower protection. Inside, the marble corridors buzzed with other people's crises. We filed our opposition minutes before the clerk's 10 a.m. deadline. Vince attached Clara's signed affidavit and the original Slack logs showing my repeated requests for oversight. Each exhibit was a nail-sealing Raymond's legal coffin. 11:47 a.m., courtroom 32B. Raymond sat at petitioner's table, tan a shade paler, flanked by two white shoe attorneys. He didn't look at me, but his jaw worked like a paper shredder. His counsel opened. "Your Honor, Mr. Harrington unlawfully disseminated proprietary financial models, causing irreparable harm." Vince rose. "Respectfully, the only thing proprietary here is Mr. Foster's imagination. The documents he labels trade secret are doctored fabrications, unprotected by law and evidence of fraud." Judge Patel adjusted her glasses. "Mr. Foster, did you, or anyone under your direction, alter these projections after termination of Mr. Harrington?" Raymond's lips parted, but no sound emerged. His lawyer interjected, requesting a recess to review new information. Vince's exhibits. Judge Patel shook her head. "Petitioner initiated this emergency motion. We proceed." Vince handed up a flash drive. CCTV footage from the speakeasy time-stamped 9:02 p.m., showing Clara and me clinking glasses, miles from Raymond's office computer that logged the edits at 9:17 p.m. Raymond's attorney whispered urgently. Raymond's shoulders sagged. Judge Patel spoke. "Temporary injunction denied. Furthermore, I am referring potential perjury concerns to the district attorney." Gavel. Outside the courtroom, Vince slapped my back. "You're free, kid. And Raymond's about to learn the meaning of fraudulent inducement." Clara texted a single emoji. A firework. I grinned, but the celebration cut short as my phone rang again. Dana. Her voice was steady but urgent. "Miles, we have a bigger problem. Someone inside Corinthia leaked the board minutes to the press. Headlines claim we colluded with you to sabotage your old firm. Stock is tanking, and the SEC just called. Get back here, now." The cab doors slammed before the line even went dead, city blurring past while I wondered, was Raymond the only enemy left, or was there a traitor standing right beside me? The cab fishtailed up to Corinthia's curb at 1:15 p.m. Reporters clogged the revolving doors, shouting variations of, "Did you sabotage Foster and Cole?" I shoved through, flashing my temporary badge like a shield. Dana met me in the executive lounge, eyes red-rimmed but fierce. On the wall-mounted TV, a cable anchor bleated. "Breaking insider plot exposed?" Beneath the chyron scrolled my name, Clara's, and a grainy still of us in the speakeasy. "Who had the minutes?" I asked. "Only board, legal, my chief of staff, and this." She tapped a tablet displaying a Slack DM thread from Clara to Dana's COS at 12:04 p.m. "Media needs transparency. Leak boosts public trust." My stomach dropped through the floor. Clara, mentor, ally, had pulled a Raymond move of her own. "She thought she was protecting me," I murmured, half to myself. "It triggered an SEC inquiry," Dana said. "If we look complicit, the advisory contract dies before it's signed." I exhaled slowly. Let me fix it. One press conference. Live Q&A. Total transparency. Dana hesitated, then nodded. "We go on at 2. Auditorium B, 1:45 p.m. I found Clara pacing near a service elevator, phone pressed white-knuckled to her ear. She startled when she saw me. "You saw the coverage," she said, defensive already. "Public sympathy cripples Raymond faster than lawsuits." "At what cost?" I kept my voice level. "Dana's negotiating FDA partnerships today. An SEC cloud spooks their board." Her shoulders sagged. "I wanted to make sure you landed safely, Miles. I leaked only the part proving your innocence." Intent doesn't erase fallout, I said. Help me set it right. She bit her lip, then handed over her phone. I still have the reporter on standby. 2:03 p.m. Corinthia Auditorium, BO stage lights cut through camera flashes. Dana opened. We invited you for unfiltered answers. She gestured me forward. I spoke without notes. The deal, the firing, Raymond's fraud, and, turning to Clara in the front row, the misguided leak. Mistakes were made in panic, not malice, I said. Transparency means owning them in daylight. A journalist barked, Are you negotiating in bad faith to steal clients? I smiled wryly. Hard to steal what was never truly theirs. Corinthia chose accountability over convenience. I'm honored they asked me to guide that. Another asked about the SEC. Dana's GC stepped up. We've welcomed the inquiry, provided every document, including the leaked minutes, nothing to hide. Cameras captured Clara standing and stating, I leaked the file alone. Mr. Harrington had no knowledge. I resign my advisory offer effective immediately. My chest tightened, but I let her. Sometimes redemption is solitary. 4:40 p.m. The closing bell rang with Corinthia's stock up 3%. Investors rewarded honesty. Raymond's firm? Down 27 and falling after the DA announced a fraud probe. Dana signed my contract in blue ink. Crisis navigated. Welcome aboard, Director. Outside, sunlight broke through afternoon clouds. I dialed Jenna. It's done, I said. We're going to be all right. She laughed through happy tears. I never doubted it. Well, maybe a little. As I pocketed my phone, a message pinged. Clara. Take care of them, kid. Make it count. I typed back, always. Hit send. Then I stepped into the street, the city's roar now a symphony instead of a storm.